is Sicilian defense. Smyslov playing white and Fischer playing black. E4, C5, knight F3, D6, D4, C into D4, knight into D4, knight F6, knight C3, A6. A6 is to prevent the bishop or knight coming here. Bishop G5, E6, F4, bishop E7, queen F3, queen C7. Smyslov castles on the queen side. Knight B, D7, G4. Start attacking the king side. B5. B5 is a good move. Fischer says that he learnt the game with Walter. We have already posted that game. Bishop into F6. Knight into F6. G5. Driving away the knight. Knight D7. Knight goes back. Bishop H3. Bishop H3 is a bad move. Soon we will see why it is bad. Fischer replies with a good move. Fischer learned this from the previous games. Knight C, E2. Bishop B7. King B1. King B1 is also not a great move. In this sharp variation, there is no time for such amenities, while speculative knight G3 avoids any severe disadvantages. Here knight G3 is better according to Bobby Fischer. Fischer plays knight C5. Now knight G3. E5 is a excellent move. Fischer could see from the expression on Smyslov's face, he is already busted. He played F5. On E5, let us go back and see. On E5, G6, rook C1, queen B6, C3, A5, followed by castling. In the powerful attack in Smyslov's clean positional judgment tells him that such a course white is lifeless. So he sacks a pawn instead. Go back after F5. D into E4. Queen G4. Getting out of the pin and attacked by the pawn. E into F5. What is played is knight into E7. Queen into E7. Queen F4. Fischer castles. Rook A, D8. Otherwise, will double the rooks. Rook F6. Rook D5. G4. Knight D7. Rook F1. A desperate attempt to complicate. On knight into E4, let us go back and see. Rook D4. Pinning the knight. Bishop into D7. Queen into D7. Or instead of knight into E4, queen into E4, check. Rook into D1. Bishop into E4. Rook into knight. rook into d7, queen e5. What was the last move played? Rook f1. Black plays e3. On knight into f6, let us go back and see. On knight into f6, d into f6, queen c5, queen h6, and white wins. So Fischer was careful and he played e3, b3, rook d2, threatening knight into f6, g into f6, queen c5, rook c1, and queen d4. To avert further material loss, Smyslov is forced to indulge in simplification. He has been trying so hard to forestall. So what is played is bishop into d7, rook into d7. Forced, but now white's game rapidly deteriorates. The extra pawn makes its presence felt. e1, rook e8, h4, queen c5, queen c4. This is horrible but necessary to meet the main threat of queen into c4, b into c4, rook d4, c5, rook into h4, c6, bishop c8, rook d6, rook c4, king b2, king g7, king b3, rook g4, knight e2, rook e6, rook e d1. Instead, if rook into e6, bishop into e6, king b2, rook c4. But what is played is rook e d1, g2, knight f4, rook into d6, rook into d6, rook d2, rook d3, rook f2, rook d4. Again forced. If knight d5, e2, rook e3, rook f5, and wins. The last move played is rook d4, e2, knight d3, bishop f5, c7, rook f3. Figure is bishop into d3, c8 is equal to queen, e1 is equal to queen, rook into d3, queen b1 check, king a4, rook into c2, etc. But what is played is rook f3, c8 is equal to queen, b into c8. Again e8 is equal to queen was quicker, but Fischer doesn't like to have complications. Queen to c8, rook e4, bishop d5, rook into e2, bishop into f3, c into d3, rook into d3, king into b4, rook d5, rook g2, g into h6, king into h6, a4, g5, rook c2, rook d6, king c5, rook e6. After this, white resigns. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your time. Please subscribe so that you can see all the games of the great Bobby Fischer. Thanks for watching.